The Obama administration has rolled out a new budget, but it was clear today the plan is in for a bumpy ride. Democrats objected to provisions to save money on Medicare and Social Security. Republicans dismissed any talk of raising taxes again on the well-off. NewsHour congressional correspondent Kwame Holman begins our coverage.
The president's plan arrived at the Capitol this morning, bearing a price tag of $3.8 trillion for the coming fiscal year. And the chief executive made his pitch in the White House Rose Garden.
If we want to keep rebuilding our economy on a stronger, more stable foundation, then we've got to get smarter about our priorities as a nation. And that's what the budget I'm sending to Congress today represents.
The blueprint aims to reduce the deficit by another $1.8 trillion over 10 years. That's on top of $2.5 trillion in reductions agreed to at the end of last year. The cuts in this new budget also replace most of sequestration, those across-the-board spending reductions that already have begun taking effect. To make it all possible, the president would raise $580 billion in new revenue from higher taxes on the wealthy, and he anticipated Republican objections.
If anyone thinks I'll finish the job of deficit reduction on the backs of middle-class families or through spending cuts alone that actually hurt our economy short-term, they should think again. When it comes to deficit reduction,
Republican leader Mitch McConnell rejected the president's math.
But when you cut through the spin and get to the facts, it looks like there's less than $600 billion worth of reduction in there, and that's over a decade, all of it coming, not surprisingly, from tax increases. In other words, it's not a serious plan.
It's nice to see you today.
Thank you.
Mr. Obama hoped Republicans would appreciate $400 billion in savings from Medicare and other health programs, plus lower cost of living adjustments for Social Security.
I don't believe that all these ideas are optimal, but I'm willing to accept them as part of a compromise, if and only if they contain protections for the most vulnerable Americans.
House Speaker John Boehner said he does give Mr. Obama some credit for moving on entitlements, but not at the price of higher taxes.
But I would hope that he would not hold hostage these modest reforms for his demand for bigger tax hikes. Listen, why don't we do what we can agree to do? Why don't we find the common ground that we do have and move on that?
While House Speaker Boehner and other Republicans welcomed the president's offer on entitlements, many Democrats expressed displeasure. They said the changes to Social Security and Medicare would hurt seniors and other Americans struggling to make ends meet. Arizona Representative Raul Grijalva is co-chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus.
Quite frankly, Social Security did not cause a deficit. It should be a separate discussion away from this whole budget issue. It has been a trophy the Republicans have won. Hand them that opportunity readily.
The budget does include new spending that Democrats can support on jobs, infrastructure, and expanded preschool education. That last item would be funded by a 94-cent increase in the federal tax on a pack of cigarettes. Now it falls to the president to try to sell his plan to both sides. He's scheduled to host a dozen Republican senators at the White House for dinner this evening.